The most talkative figure in Parshas Chayei is certainly the Eved Abraham, who Chazal identify as none other than Eliezer. Chazal tell us, Yafes yichasan shel Avdei Avos yosu mitarasan shel banim. The speech of the Avdei Avos is greater, is more beautiful than the Tarasan shel banim. So let us analyze one small part of that speech of Eliezer, Eved Abraham. When, after Eliezer arrives at the home of Lavan and Besuel, and he requests the right to speak, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is Vayomar Eved Abraham Anochi. I'm a servant of Abraham. Rav Soloveitchik is medayik that the choice of term here, Eved Abraham, is interesting in that he dropped the lamed. Normally in Chumash, when someone's described as an Eved, they're an Eved le somebody. So for example, in Parshas Noach says, V'hi chinan Eved lamo. Eved avadim yeh le'echav. He will be an Eved to his brothers. And he says, Shem and Yefes, Canaan will be an Eved to him. He chinan Eved lamo, to him. Similarly, in the end of Parshas Vayigash, when the Mitzrim run out of food, they offer to be avadim leparo. They say, just keep us alive, give us food. V'hayinu avadim lefaro. Similarly, in the pasuk that we're probably most familiar with, that we say in the Pesach Seder, it's a pasuk at the end, towards the end of Parshas Vaschanon, ve'amarta levincha avadim hayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim ve'yotzein Hashem Mitzrayim b'yad chazaka. We were slaves to Paro in Egypt. In all these cases, the lamed signifies the relationship between the Eved and the Adon. Says the Rav, that relationship is a financial one. The Eved is owned by an Adon. Paro owned the Avadim when we were Avadim in Mitzrayim. Paro owned the Mitzrim as Avadim when they ran out of food. And Noach cursed Canaan that he should be owned by other people. Chazal tell us that Eliezer was the descendant of one of those of Canaan. He was born into a relationship where he was an Eved le B'nai Shem. And in this case, he was an Eved le Avraham. However, when he describes himself, he doesn't say, I am an Eved le Avraham. Rather, he says, Eved Avraham Anochi. What is the significance of dropping the lamed? When we describe somebody as Eved Ploni, Eved Avraham, it is not just a financial relationship, it is a matter of identity. He's saying, I define myself, my identity is defined by Avram Avinu. Everything I am is defined by the house of Abraham. That is what defines me, that is what makes me who I am. I'm much more than just a financially obligated individual whose Maaseh Adayim all belong to Abraham. I embody Avram's house. I am the Eved of Avram. I am the extension of Avram himself. It is quite an amazing thing that Eliezer raised himself from being born into a natural situation of being Eved le. He was born under the curse of Noach. They should be as Eved le Shem. He rose from there to make himself Eved Avraham. He wasn't just defined by a financial obligation, a financial relationship. He was defined by all the values of Avram Avinu. Similarly, we are all born into this world. Al Korchenu, we are born. Al Korchenu, we will die. And we are naturally obligated, as many Rishonim describe, the Hakaras HaTov we have to Kadosh Baruch Hu naturally obligates us. Hakadosh Baruch Hu's dominance naturally obligates us. There's a natural obligation that we have no choice but to serve Hakadosh Baruch Hu. But the greatest of all men, Moshe Rabbeinu, is described not as an Eved La Hashem, but an Eved Hashem. Moshe is an Eved Hashem, not just because he didn't just serve Hakadosh Baruch Hu because he had to, but he rose to define himself as an Eved Hashem. Everything about him was understood through the light of being Hashem's servant, of living in Hashem's world, of doing Hashem's will. That is Hashem. We should all ask ourselves, in as much as we are born into this relationship of being Avadim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know that we always describe ourselves as Avdei Hashem, as the beginning of Hallel, as Chazal Amidayik, Hallelu Avdei Hashem, V'lo Avdei Paro. We are not Avadim Paro. We never were Avadim Paro. We were never defined by our service to Paro. We are defined by our service to Hashem. We are Avdei Hashem, not Avadim La Hashem, but Avdei Hashem. Let us ask ourselves, in what way are we not just born into that, but we define ourselves and grow into our role and understanding of living as a HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Avadim in this world, his emissaries in this world, and being defined by that relationship with him.